Welcome back. Right now, you're looking at a live feed of a pro-Palestinian vigil happening right now in Detroit. The vigil held in response to the war in Israel, called for the end of the violence there. Also, similar pro-Israel vigils happening in Southfield. We actually saw that happen last night. These rallies aren't just limited to the United States. In Rome today, a crowd of people gathered in front of the Colosseum in a show of solidarity with Israel. According to the latest numbers, more than 1,600 people have been killed, including 14 Americans, and more than 2,500 other people were reported injured, and more than 100 others are being held hostage by a terrorist group, Hamas. In Gaza, more than 900 people have been killed by Israel's retaliatory airstrikes, including 140 children. Around 4,000 others were wounded there, and with many people hurt now, their lives are also being lost. The question now becomes, is there any chance for any kind of peace? So joining us now in studio to have a discussion about what we're seeing and also what it would possibly take to see some peace is Imam Mohammad Ali Elahi. He is from the Islamic House of Wisdom in Dearborn Heights, and also Rabbi Asher Lopatin, Executive Director of the Jewish Community Relations Council for Bloomfield Hills. Thank you, gentlemen, both for being here.
Thank you.
So just first, I'll start with this. As we're seeing so much violence play out and just so many people hurt and so much pain, how do you speak to your congregations? You're both leaders. How do you speak to them about what's happening and keep them encouraged?
Well, I think that we have to also recognize that there are different kinds of pain. We don't want any human being to be hurt. We don't want any human being to suffer, or God forbid, to be killed, Palestinian or Israeli, Jewish. But the start of everything has to be the condemnation, as President Biden did today, Gretchen Whitmer did yesterday, of the horrific murder, brutal targeting of civilians, of children, of babies, of children, of young people, 260 people, Jews, civilians shot point blank at a festival of music that we're just enjoying, a peace festival. That has to be condemned. Then we can discuss what we can do about the Palestinian-Israeli situation. We'll have many disagreements about that, but it has to start with condemning targeting civilians. It's tragic. War is tragic, and civilians will die in war, unfortunately, collateral damage. But we have to first start, and I hope the rally in Dearborn, I don't think so, should have started with, we condemn Hamas for targeting civilians and killing them and kidnapping grandmothers. More than any other day since the Holocaust, Jews were massacred on Saturday. That's the start of peace, to recognize that.
That's right. It's also important to note that this war is not between Israelis and Palestinians. Imam Elahi, how do you have those conversations?
Well, my conversation is that war is not the answer. Extremism is not the answer. Unfortunately, Netanyahu, based on even the Israeli newspaper, Haaretz, he is the one responsible for these clashes. He came to power with hatred, racism, promoting extremism, religious extremism, secular extremism, settlement extremism, and he brought so much hate and so much destruction, denying the existence of Palestinians. His minister said there is no such a thing as Palestine or Israel-Palestine. Yesterday, another Netanyahu minister said that these guys, Palestinians, are just like animals, no food, no water, no medicine, no electricity. I mean, denying the dignity of the Palestinian and existence of the Palestinian. So we think that, yes, as a person of religion, I've been in the last 2-3 days praying both personally and in public for peace. But we believe that the path to peace is justice, is observation of human rights, is to respect human rights, respect United Nations resolution, respect international laws. But apparently Netanyahu and people who share his mentality, they deny all of these things. It's not only about Gaza. I mean, look at the West Bank. The 2023, the deadliest year for Palestinians in the West Bank. So when Rabbi talks about condemnation of, the families, the children, women from the Jewish community, but where is the condemnation also? So far, over 5,000 Palestinians been killed or wounded in Gaza, and there are women, men, children, and they have no place to go. Even the United Nations shelters under bombardment, the mosque under bombardment. I mean, if somebody want to blame Gaza people, in month of Ramadan, that people in Aqsa Mosque, they are doing their prayer. The Israeli forces under Netanyahu, they attacked the mosque, and unarmed people who were peacefully praying, they were under attack. So we think that, yes, we stand for peace, but at the same time stand for justice and the end of discrimination, end of humiliation of Palestinians, and putting them under humiliation and denying their existence. I think there should be a way, but bullet and bombardment and bloodshed is not the way. If that was the solution, we shouldn't have this war. It's been going on for 75 years, but it's still the same problem.
It's continuing, Rabbi.
The solution is free Palestine from Hamas. Free Palestine from Hamas. Hamas wants to destroy Israel, yes, from the river to the sea. They do not want peace. You know, those 260 precious lives that were gunned down, that were murdered, those were people that were peace-loving people that would have wanted a two-state solution. Hamas, in its charter, is against it, does not want Jews in that land, in their Palestine land, from the river to the sea, and does not want Israel. Free Palestinians, I hope at that rally in Dearborn tonight, I hope they were saying, we hate Hamas. Hamas is ruining the Palestinian cause.
But you know, Rabbi,
and actually, Israel withdrew from Gaza and end the occupation. Well, Israel did end the occupation in 2005 from Gaza. It moved out. That's not good enough. People want open borders. And they would have open borders if they wouldn't bring in 5,000 missiles. We were talking
But we
earlier.
disagree. You know, in West Bank, you know, Rabbi, you know, in the West Bank, in Jenin, when even that Shirin Abu Akla, Al Jazeera journalist, was killed, even a journalist could not survive. It was not Gaza, it was not Hamas over there. It's West Bank. Even the Palestinian Authority that recognized Israel and signed agreement with Israel, they didn't get nothing.
They
I mean,
Israeli,
the
Palestinian Authority is in control of Area A of the West Bank. And we have distinguished people that have died in Jenin. Those are militants. And yes, there will be tragically some civilians, even reporters, that get caught. But that Israel is not targeting civilians. Israel is not shooting down babies and targeting them. Israel actually worked very hard to avoid collateral damage.
That is not the case, Rabbi. 75 years. You know, the real reason is occupation. Now Netanyahu announced war. Looks like they have been joking for the last 75 years. What were you doing that now you announce war? And war against Gaza. Gaza is under occupation. Legally, you cannot fight with people who are under your occupation.
The occupation is by Hamas, and Israel needs to free Gaza from Hamas. That's what it needs to do. Free the Palestinians from the brutal, undemocratic rule of Hamas. And I hope Israel is able to do that, and that would be the best thing for Palestinians.
Well, I would say, Rabbi, is repeating the same thing for the last 7 years and expecting different result. That is what Einstein, who himself was Jewish, said, this is insanity. So if they want to continue war and fighting for another 70 years, it's going to be the same result. Even if they finish Hamas in Gaza, do you think the problem is over? No.
So you think we're seeing an endless cycle?
It is a cycle. There should be justice. There should be respect for human rights. There should be respect for also Palestinians to exist as human beings, not to deny their rights and their dignity.
I consider myself a Zionist and a pro-Palestinian Zionist, and I definitely believe in the dignity of the Palestinian people and the national rights of the Palestinian people. But you know what's interesting? It's not an endless cycle, because with the Abraham Accords, Israel is starting to have relations not just with Jordan and Egypt, but the UAE and Morocco and Sudan, and working on Saudi Arabia and other countries. So it's not an endless
I
cycle,
hope they work
unfortunately.
with the Palestinian rabbi. Why you need to talk with Saudi Arabia, United Arab, Morocco? They are not under occupation. They have no problem with Israel. You have to solve your problem with your neighbors, with the Palestinians.
Do you think it's a situation where we're just not seeing enough people wanting to collaborate and work together?
I think the situation is people like Netanyahu, they are for extremism, and this extremism is destructive. And this guy, he doesn't care about Palestinians, he doesn't care about Jews, he cares about his own power. That is why he loves war. He is glad there is war. I heard some rumors, even in Israeli newspaper, they are saying that Egypt told Israel 10 days in advance that something is going on. And Netanyahu said everything is under control.
But Imam Ali, since 1947, Israel agreed to a Palestinian state alongside a Jewish state, and the Palestinians and the Arab people rejected it. And then after 1967, the Khartoum Agreement was no negotiations, no discussions.
Why they didn't
and
do
even
it
tonight
then?
in Dearborn, I heard from the river to the sea, there's no recognition for Israel to exist at all. Israel has tried the Oslo Accords, the Camp David Accords, Ehud Barak.
They signed it,
Israel
but
has
they did not do it. That's the problem. Saying something is something, and doing it is something else. Unfortunately, I mean, they are increasing settlement in West Bank. What kind of recognition is that these are even illegal, even based on United States laws? The settlements are illegal, and they are increasing, and everybody was saying it. And this guy doesn't care about the lives of Jews or Palestinians. He just wants his power. He thinks this war is a golden opportunity for Netanyahu to increase his power and to cover his crime and corruption in Israeli courts and survive.
Probably not. Probably this might cause the downfall of his government. So actually, I don't think Netanyahu wanted it. Netanyahu avoided war as much as possible going into Gaza. The real mistake seems to be disengagement from Gaza.
Arrogance, because he's arrogant, he's losing his mind.
But Israel tried something different. Sharon, who passed away, tried disengagement from Gaza, tried something different. Okay, we're going to unilaterally pull out of Gaza and a lot of the Samaria, also northern Samaria, and see what happens. And tragically,
but they
this
kept
is what
attacking Gaza. In 2008, they attacked Gaza. In 2014, they repeated. 2021, and each time, thousands of Palestinian men, women, and children were massacred.
And they were not massacred. They were fighting back against Hamas. That's the sad thing, is when it became Hamas-controlled and not Palestinian-controlled, really.
So are you not hopeful that we could see peace?
What's that?
Are you not hopeful that we could see peace?
I am definitely hopeful. I think if Israel can go back in there and occupy it, we'll begin to see peace, and eventually we'll have a shared society. I think that's what it will take.
I think it is going to make it more complicated, more bloodshed, even if they finish, even if they use one of those Israeli atomic bomb and finish, Gaza. Is not going to be end of the problem. It's going to be beginning of the problem. The solution is not war. The solution is justice, is wisdom, is respect for human rights. That's the only, and end of occupation. I think that's the solution. And this is something that we say this because we care for Palestinian, we care for Jewish people, we care for humanity, we care for all. That is why we say
end of Hamas occupation. I agree with you.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for this conversation. It's an important one to have. We are certainly hoping to see some peace at some point.
Please God.
We'll keep watching the situation. Hopefully we can have you both back.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.